Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tarale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadabhaktaya Namo Namaha Vanchakalpatrubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Shri Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Dandavad Pranam devotees. Before speaking anything, I want to offer my prostrated obeisances at the lotus feet of my Guru Parapadma Nitya Lila Praveshtam Vishnu Pada Paramahansastu Tarasisimat Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. Likewise unto my Param Guru Dev Nitya Lila Praveshtam Vishnu Pada Paramahansastu Tarasisimat Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, and unto Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnu Pada Paramahansa Astotra Sata Shishimad Acharya Keshari Srila Bhakti Pragan Kesha Goswami Maharaj, as well as unto our Upanuga Guru Varga, to the Vaishnava Mandal. So I wanted to answer a question that came to the inbox. And the question was regarding, I'm always paraphrasing these things because I'm not keeping directly the whole message open and everything. But anyway, the question was about being able to go back to God. I think it was go back home, back to Godhead, if we just have faith and follow the 4 regulative principles, chant 16 rounds, will we go back home, back to Godhead? So, of course, the answer is yes, if you unpack the meaning of that statement. So the statement is that if you will chant 16 rounds, follow the 4 regulative principles, it will give you entrance into the arena of faith in bhakti. Coming into the arena of faith in bhakti, your consciousness will undergo a change. The very meaning of faith is Shraddha Anupayani Vrajam Bhakti Unmukhi Chitta Vritti Visesh, that your consciousness, by the influence of faith, will begin to transform towards being God-centered instead of self-centered. So when that faith develops, the first repository of that faith is the sadhu. So your faith will give you revelation of what is a sadhu. So Jiva Goswami explained this, Sadnoti Sadayati Cha Krishna Premiti Sadhu. And Samyak Rupen Anugamana means to do Sangha. This is the meaning of the word Sangha. Samyak Rupen Anugamana, to completely with body, mind, words, moods, to follow that sadhu. And that sadhu is a person who's realized the ultimate goal of life, to be love for God, Krishna Prem, Iti Sadhu. Right? So if you chant 16 rounds, follow 4 regulative principles, and you're imbued with faith, and your faith manifests the revelation in your heart of who is a sadhu, and taking shelter of that sadhu, as is the very first instruction of Rupa Goswami in the 64 Angas of Bhakti, Guru Padasraya, then you can learn from that sadhu the process of bhajan. Bhajan means how to serve Bhagavan, because bhaj dhatu iti sevayam. The Sanskrit dhatu, the verbal root of the word bhaj or bhajan, means how to serve. It means to serve. So that will lead into an investigation of what is the meaning of service. That will come to another verse. Anya abhilasita sunya is the first part of that verse. It means serving without any other desire except Anyabhilasita sunyam jnana karmarya navratam anukulyena Krishna anusilanam bhakti uttam, except the desire for uttam bhakti. And uttam bhakti means doing everything which is anukul, favorable for the pleasure of Shri Krishna. Shri Krishna always means Krishna and his entire entourage, means Radha, Krishna, Brajadam, all the Brajavasis. So just like Jiva Goswami Pada has described, whenever you mention the word king, it is axiomatic that it means his entire retinue. It means the king, his ministers, his soldiers, his citizens, etc. So the idea here is that by that simplistic idea of following 4 regular principles, chanting 16 rounds, if it will evolve faith, it is, yes, possible that one can go back home, back to Godhead. Rupa Goswami Pad has written, however, that there has to be some sanskar there, means an impression from a previous life. So according to that understanding, at least 2 lives would be necessary to go back to Godhead. 1 life that creates the impressions of bhakti, and 1 life in which those impressions become realized and fulfilled. But more realistically, it may take hundreds of lifetimes, right? Or it may not. But here the real point is the way in which one goes to the abode of Bhagavan is when the heart is imbued with the pure mood of seva, enveloped in prema or love. It is not an entitlement. It is not an, what is it? It's not a Judeo-Christian theological concept of faith, and in faith there's reward for faith. It's not that sort of thing. It is a genuine, absolute, and realistic relationship, and the relationship is based on love or praying. So it's the cultivation of that love relationship that is the process of bhakti. So we should not want that unless and until I have that love, I will be allowed entrance into the seva circle, service circle of Bhagavan, because then what will I do? And it's also the epitome of self-interest, that it's not really about my development of love for God. It's about arranging my freedom from suffering, or arranging my ability to continuously enjoy and be happy by being in the kingdom of God. This is still self-interest. Chaitanya Charitamrita has been clear. Atma Indriya Priti Tare Vanche Bhale Kam. That this is our own self-interest, our own lusty desire. Lust here doesn't mean only sensual lust, but it means lust for self-interest. So the real meditation should be Kabe. Kabe means when. When will I develop love for Bhagavan? And when I will develop love for Bhagavan, then it will not matter if I'm in the kingdom of God, if I'm not in the kingdom of God, because that love transcends circumstantial situations. Narayana Parayana Save Naku Taschana Bibhyati Swarga Apavaga Narakeshu Api Tulyatra Darshana. That it is Tulya Darshan. Tulya Darshan means it is equally seen whether one is in heavenly planets, whether one is liberated, whether one is in the hellish planets even. If they are Narayana Parayana, means they are completely devoted to God. This is one of the great mysteries of the descent of Jai and Vijay. If you read Srimad Bhagavatam very closely, it's mentioned that their sojourn into the material world for the purpose of performing a lila with Bhagavan to taste Vira Ras. The word Vira Ras is, there are 12 kinds of rasa. 5 are primary, which you know, Santa, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, Madhurya, and there's 7 secondary rasas like Hasharas, Jigupsa, Bhayanak, right? And Vira Ras is one of these. 7 Gon Ras they call, right? So when they descended, it was explained by Krishna himself, by Lord Narayan himself, to Jai and Vijay, Samrama Sambritya Samadhi Anubhari Yog, that your descent to the material world will be a form of samadhi. What kind of samadhi? It'll be Samrama Sambritya. The intensification of your anger will fuel the lila of our fighting, and therefore increasing the pleasure of Vira Ras. Because Ras can only be tasted between Bhagavan and his devotee. If one is not devotee, he doesn't have the storage in his heart of love for Bhagavan. Therefore, no Ras can be produced. Right? Like Charan and Mushtika, they were near Ras. So even though Krishna is Atmaram and he enjoyed fighting, it was not coming from his relationship with Charan and Mustika, Tal, and so all these wrestlers of Kamsa. But in the case of Jai and Vijay, he actually was enjoying the nature of Vira Rasa. So that Rasa, the alamban of the Ras, means Vishaya and Asraya is present. The Vishaya of the rasa means the object of the rasa is Narayan, and the Saviks of Lord Narayan, Jai and Vijay, they were the Ashrayas in this case, in a unique way. Because by intensified anger, they were performing Bhakti Yoga. Right? So love is the real goal, not locale. So we have to be a little bit careful because, of course, when our Srila Prabhupada came, the initial inspiration for making a change in our consciousness was, first of all, the perception of you're actually suffering in the material world. That actually is birth, old age, disease, and death, something worth spending a whole life pursuing, because that's the pillars that surround everything else you do in the material world. So no, why not look at the idea that there's an eternal enjoyment? Even back to the saying, be high forever, right? Because there was some resonance. If you're getting high back at that time, you know, I'm saying for people who are doing this sort of thing, I guess there was resonance with the idea, oh, we could be high forever, right? So Srila Prabhupada was cultivating self-interest into a kind of yukta vairagya, right? A detachment based on, well, if you give up this temporary sense of enjoyment, you're going to get an eternal enjoyment, right? And based especially on the fact that a lot of us have come from, and if you weren't directly part of, you were in the arena of the Judeo-Christian theologies, like investing your faith in the church, doing the right things, and then being rewarded for it by going to heaven. So that influence translated into, in many cases, the practice of bhakti. Even though there was a great deal more philosophical and theological depth, still some people carry that over. And especially after realizing, because it's been analyzed in the Madhurya Kondambini of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakurpad, that the bhakti, before it comes to a stage of steadiness, it is called Anishtita Bhakti, has various features. And one feature is Utsamai. Utsamai means, in the very beginning when we came to bhakti, we thought, oh, this is great. The incense, the beauty of the deities, the atmosphere of the temple, the ashram, prasadam, nice philosophical ideas being spread. This was all great. But then over the course of years, when you have to actually apply, practice, stay consistent, go through the peaks and valleys, at that time, the realizations of the fact that it's not all going to be just another enjoyed experience among many materially enjoyed experiences starts to kick in. And then the reality of the seriousness that it takes to dedicate your life to bhakti in a deep way becomes manifest. And for some people, they either gave it up or other people tried to adjust it. Well, what I'll do is I'll just adjust the idea to a more Judeo-Christian idea of, hey, I did join, I did put in some tenure, I do have faith in it, I do believe in it. I will observe, you know, those principal things you talk about, and I'll be rewarded at the end of that by going back home, back to Godhead. So this is not really pure bhakti. Pure bhakti means anya abhilasita sunya. I have no other desire except the anukul seva in love of Shri Krishna, Mahaprabhu. So our cultivation is for that purpose, right? Because bhakti means a practice of something, and a sadhana or practice has to have a sadhya or a goal, or it can't truly be called by definition a sadhana. So the practice we have, or the sadhana we have, has a goal, both an ultimate goal and an incremental goals. I spoke this on the glorification of my Gurudev's Tirubhav Mahotsav. I was speaking about these incremental sadhyas. So the larger sadhya means the larger goal of practicing bhakti is to obtain bhav. In this body, that's the limit of attainment, because prem could not be contained in this body, but a ray of that prem, surya anksa, right? That can come into the heart of the jiva. And that is called the stage of bhav. Sudha sattva viseshatma prem surya anksa samyabha ruchi bis chittam asanya kirasobha vuchite. I'm not explaining this verse. You can look it up, but it's, you know, require a whole sort of class to do that. So this is the stage of bhav, and this is the goal in the practice of bhakti. So all of the different things we're doing, kriti sadhya, bhavet sadhya, bhagasa sadhanavida, right? This is the verse Rupa Goswami is explaining what is sadhana and what is sadhya. And it's to bring about nitya siddha bhavasha prakritamriti sadhyata. Within the heart, to bring about a nitya siddha bhav. So nitya siddha bhav here means nitya siddha bhakta bhavasha. It means a kind of Bhav that's in the heart of the eternal associates of Bhagavan. And the eternal associates of Bhagavan do not have self-interest. So we're not looking to be rewarded, right? In fact, it's mentioned that even if the aspects of liberation are offered, like Salokya, Samipya, Sarsti, Swarupya, then we would say, Diyamanam Nagrananti Vinamat Sevanalajana. If I can't have this pure praying seva, then I don't want even these kinds of liberation. Right? So, even if they were offered, means Bhagavan personally appeared to you and said, hey, listen, tomorrow I have a chariot arranged for you. Just be there on time. You don't even need a ticket. There's an old sort of African-American sort of gospel song, right? There's a train coming. You don't even need a ticket. Just get on board, right? So even if Bhagavan was to show up and say, here, there's a chariot coming, Vaikuntha Viman for you tomorrow. Just be here at a certain time. You don't need a ticket. Just get on board, right? So anybody who's practicing bhakti according to the mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they would, with folded hands, bow before those Vishnu Dutas and tell, oh, I will only await for the kripa and the mercy of Srimati Radhika that I may be able to enter Brajadam to render transcendental loving service to Shri Radha Krishna. Raghunath Das Goswami said this. I'm not saying. You should read the book Mana Siksha if you have not read already. There he's been very clear. Lakshmi Pati, what is it? What is this verse? Takva Lakshmi Pati. What is this? Takva Lakshmi Pati Ratim Vyomanayanim. That one should give up the idea even of serving Lakshmi Narayan. What to speak of just going to Vaikuntha for one's own self-interest. Even he's saying in our path that one should give up the desire for that service and rather should concentrate on the abundant service to Shri Radha Krishna in Vrindavan. So these are nuanced things, right? So please don't get me, there may be somebody who, by the nature of their natural attraction and their developed attraction, may have a desire to go to Vaikuntha for the service of Lakshmi Narayan. So we're speaking here, Raghunath Das Goswami has written Mana Siksha to give a guidance in bhajan for those who want to obtain Braja Bhakti. Right? So let me make that clear as well. But the real point here is that our mood of service cannot be dominated by salvationism. It cannot be dominated by self-interest. It can only be fruitful if there is only the desire for the Anukul Seva of Mahaprabhu Shri Radha Krishna Yuga. This is the teaching that Sriman Mahaprabhu came to give. So, and this is a very famous verse of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Pada Rajo Bhagavan Vajesha Kanayas Tad Dhamma Vrindavana Ramyaskas Chirupasana Brajavadu Varagena Yakalpita Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanam Ambalam. He says the Srimad Bhagavatam is our proof. So even Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is not saying, oh, I'm simply saying, but it is the proof in Srimad Bhagavatam, right? Prema Pramata. This is the ultimate goal of our whole sadhana, our whole practice, everything. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Madamidam. This is also the, Matam means the opinion of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Tatra adaro nahaparaha. And I don't really hold adara. Adara means like respect, honor for other opinions than this opinion of Mahaprabhu. So his very strong statement of our Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur that this is our aim and objective. Right? So even though there has to be understanding in steps, we should still have a broad picture. Just like you build a house, you look at the blueprint and the whole home is there, but then there's incremental steps, laying the foundation, clearing the area, putting in the footers, so many different things in the construction actually of that house. In the same way, we need to see the blueprint. Where are we? Where are we going? And then we can start constructing the house or the palace of Bhakti and Bhakti Rasa. So hopefully this was able to be understood by the devotee who asked the question. If you have a follow-up question, please, you can also write it. And again, I always say the devotees can always chime in here to make any corrections that I may have made any mistakes on, and to also elucidate or to elaborate on those things. Or if there's any doubt or any question regarding it, then also that could be written, and we can further try to unpack this understanding of what is pure bhakti and what is the mood and the situation under which pure bhakti is executed, which I'm saying here is executed without the salvationist mentality or any mentality of self-interest, but only the desire for the pleasure and the service of Sri Bhagavan. Jai Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Radhe Radhe.